welcome to a very special episode of Always an Escrow with Serena Appel and Colby Burchin. Hello, Colby.
Hello, Serena. It is a very special episode. You are on location. Where are you on location?
I am on location with supermodel turned raw food diet guru, Carol Alt. Hello, Carol.
Hi, Colby. Hi, Serena. By the way, Serena had to come all the way downtown to do this with me because it took me forever to try to get on this morning and I just couldn't do it. So I'm very happy to be here with you guys. Thank you for doing that, Serena. It was very sweet.
Well, it is my pleasure to be in your presence. What an honor. You have been just a fantastic, beautiful source of information and inspiration for decades. And now you're bringing to the masses all of your knowledge of the raw food diet. And that's something that we want to talk to you about today.
I would like you to talk to me about that. I've been doing this for about 30 years now, and 30 years in 5 books. 5 raw food books anyway. Yeah, so it's been something. I mean, I think it works. I mean, look at me. I look damn good for 90, don't you think? Believe me, when I say that, some people go, "You're 90?" I always watch what I say and who I say it to.
I think it's really your energy that comes through. I mean, absolutely your beauty and more. So, Colby, let's get right into it.
Okay, so what inspired you to adopt the raw food diet and how has it changed your life and health?
Vanity. Vanity, thy name is woman. Well, I was on a job. I was working with a 22-year-old. I was 35, I think, at the time. And I was watching this girl, and she was captivating the set. Her energy was contagious to everybody but me. I was tired. I felt bloated. I just thought, what happened that I went from being like that at 22 to being like this at 35? That's not what scared me. What scared me was, what am I going to be like then at 45 or 55 or 65? That's what scared me. I saw the trend and I thought, I didn't take an aspirin or a NyQuil or a antacid or anything when I was 22, but by 36, I was falling asleep with them or eating daily with them or taking them daily for pain or and I was always getting colds and flus. And I thought, that there's got to be a better way. And when I spoke with Dr. Timothy Brantley, he just opened the knowledge of the universe to me. And I saw it. I just plugged into it. I said, I know this is it. I know this is the right way.
Right. Okay. So how did you find Dr. Brantley?
I had a friend whose father was my financial advisor when I was 19. He was 14 at the time. And I hadn't seen him in 100 years. And I saw him at the Unzipped party in Los Angeles. And he called me. He said, you're the healthiest person I know. I think you're going to love this information talking to this doctor. And I thought, but I had been searching for an answer, searching for something that was going to make me feel better. I had tried every diet out there, by the way. I was also gaining weight and not, starting to not look good. And I thought, I poo-pooed him at first. And then, my gut spoke to me and said, you've been trying everything else. Well, try something. So what? You try something else. And so I called this doctor. I miraculously remembered his number. Called me right back. He said, not how can I help you or what can I do for you? He said, what do you eat? And I said, oh, well, I eat this, but I don't eat it like that because I'm a model and I have to stay thin. And he started laughing at me. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? He goes, well, I'm surprised you don't have this, and this problem. My top 6 on my hit list: headaches, cold and flus, sinus infections, and stomach problems. I had a rash on my leg. The doctor told me it was poison sumac. It turned out to be there was candide in my blood, and I had been misdiagnosed, and I was suffering terribly. And the first 3 days I went on this, changed my way of thinking and eating and looking at my food. The rash went away. I started feeling better. My energy came back. The spark came back. The sparkle in my eye came back. And I thought, I can't go back. Once you know this, once you're in the know, once you have that knowledge, you can't go back. And I was like, I just can't go back. This is something so unique and so powerful. And that's when I said, I made a little deal with the big guy upstairs. I said, I owe, I owe it. So for me, it was about paying it forward. It was about paying it forward from then on. That's why I wrote the books. I didn't want to write a book. I didn't want to become the raw food guru. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm an actress. I've done 65 films. I've done, mini series and television series. And that's really where my focus was. But the books came like that. And they just kept coming and just kept coming. And I just realized that there's a real thirst for health and a real thirst for knowledge.
That's it.
Absolutely.
So, how has your perspective on health, beauty, and body image evolved over the years?
Oh, wow. When you're 20 and somebody says to you, will you ever do plastic surgery? Your first image is like, no, I would never do that, But I think as you grow older and as things get better and better, your ideas change because all of a sudden you go like, well, maybe just this little thing or just that little thing. I think that with beauty, as with health, it's something you have to stay up on all the time. I think people take for granted health and how they look and their energy. I think they take that all for granted. I think that they think that this is going to be like this for the rest of my life. I'm 22 and I'm, indomitable and I am, never going to change. And, as you move on in life, you start seeing these I started seeing at 40 things change. And I'm thinking if I'm seeing these things change and I'm doing all the things I'm doing, I can imagine what the average person who's not doing anything, who's not aware, who's not educating themselves on this particular topic, what are they going through? And you can see it in the how many pharmaceuticals we're taking and how much how many hospitals we need and all this other stuff. And I'm not saying we don't need that stuff. I'm saying if you're in a crisis, you definitely need it. What I'm saying is everything I'm doing is preventative. It's preventing me from getting sick. It's the thought is to prevent me from getting sick, to prevent me from starting to look old. It's prevention. And when I see something change or my skin changes or I lose the color in my cheeks or that, to me, these are all signals. And I start, like a little chemist, I start, okay, like I need to change this or I need to change that, or
Mm.
I feel a little bit down or depressed, or maybe I'm too alkaline. Maybe I need to add a little acid. So I'll eat something cooked, like, so like this, it's crazy, but it's fun and it's fascinating. I mean, the body is fascinating. And what's even more fascinating is that we do everything completely wrong.
I'm sure.
I mean, I definitely, okay, so I started my health journey back in high school. I
Oh,
brought a
wow.
juicer with me to college. Yeah. I see your juicer over here.
You're my hero.
Yeah. And I did want to,
Right?
I was aware, I was interested, and I really believe that it is, a matter of like being educated and sharing and then being exposed and, having all of the little tidbits and tricks. Well, we are in for some tricks because Carol is always sharing fantastic recipes live on her feed on Instagram. Plus, she has a wealth of information in these books that she's shared. So it's incredible what you've put out there.
Well, I think the thing is that I'm sure that you gave up on juicing after a while because it's difficult to do. And people think that, I always say if you've got a very severe health issue, and you really need help fast and you need dire help. For me, the first thing I would do is I would juice 3 times every day. I would eat less food and I would just juice and get the nutrition in and let the body heal and let the body do its thing.
Mhm.
And I find that, when I first started as a raw foodie, there was nothing. There was nothing out
I
there.
know,
I had to
yeah.
make everything,
Right.
because even guacamole, they put citric acid in it, or they put, preservatives and garbage, and you know, pickles. It was so hard to find a raw pickle, real pickles, by the way. That's the name of the company. They do raw pickles and raw sauerkraut. You know, but
Mm.
I was making everything on my own. But
Yeah.
today, there's so much of there's great companies like Bear Organics, for example. They make all raw powders, so I could get my almond flour, my noni powder, cactus flour, and all these things go into my raw muffins. I play with them. By the way, they make the most unbelievable coffee. Let me flip that in there. My manager's
Ooh.
like, "Oh my god, this is the best coffee I've ever had."
Carol, I will tell you, my wife and I made your Mac Macs.
Oh, you did,
Outrageous. It was a great little treat while we're watching Netflix at night.
and you can eat them guilt free because they're healthy, and you know everything that goes in it.
They
Oh,
are
so I'm
good.
gonna leave here with some muffins today because
Yeah.
I made a whole bunch.
I'm ready to raid her pantry because it
Well,
sounds
there's no pantry right now because I'm tearing out my kitchen starting tomorrow.
well, I'm going to just take your list because it's everything that I want to know and everything that I really do love to consume for myself and my family.
Right, and
So
you
I'm
can
right
get
there.
juices now. You can get them
Yeah.
frozen and sent to you, so you don't have to go through all of that trouble of juicing all the time. You've got Juice Press; they make raw
Yes.
juices, and But I always find that you have to be very careful with some of these companies because they start out raw, like Ezekiel bread started out raw,
Right.
and it's still all sprouted,
Okay.
which I love. I now call it a bridge food. It's a food that you could use to get off cooked food because it's so much like cooked, but it's much more healthy. And then, you go on to make your own raw stuff, which is what I make. But I find that, there were companies that started out with raw bars. So I got hooked on these
Yes.
raw bars. And then all of a sudden, it just tastes a little different. And
Yeah.
you think,
Yeah.
what happened? And you reach out to the company, and the telltale sign that they've done something is it's the same as it's always been. And you go like, they don't want to say it's raw because it's not. Because they can't say it's raw if it's not raw. So if they go, oh, we haven't really changed anything. You got to look at the syntax, the little fine print.
Yeah.
So
The formulas change.
yeah. Oh, we changed the formula, but we make it the same way. Yeah, but now we cook it at 120 degrees or 150 degrees, not at 115, which changes completely the chemistry of the food.
Yes.
I always tell people, think of it this way. It's like taking food is like taking a block of wood and throwing it into a fire. It starts out as wood, but through the heat and the chemical changes that it goes through, it now becomes ashes. That's a chemical change. That's a fundamental change in the wood. And it's the same thing that happens with food. It's a fundamental change when you cook it. It goes from a more alkaline substance to an acid substance. It goes from a molecular structure that you can read and digest really easily. It changes, and the body goes like, "Huh, what's this?" And it's got to break it down and build it up, and then change it. This little piece here looks like fat. Let's store the rest of this stuff because we can't use it. The enzymes die off at a very low heat. So, now you have to make your own enzymes, and your enzymes are made from everything that keeps you young and beautiful. But now you're making enzymes, so it takes it away from being young and beautiful. So it's a lot of different things happen to food.
So, how do you approach creating raw food recipes? I'm so curious.
I play. It's the most fun you'll ever. When my parents always say, "Don't play with your food." Bah humbug. Tell your kids, give it to them. Say, play, make something. You have to make sure that each of the ingredients are raw ingredients. I mean, that's always a problem. People go like, "Well, it's flour." Well, flour has been bleached and it's been, cooked and it's been, separated from the part that's really the healthy part. They give you the part that's more sugar. So, as long as you're starting out with healthy ingredients. So I always get, whenever I do a recipe online, which with the Mac Macs, I might get an email from you or a DM from you or a comment, and you might say, well, I liked your Mac Macs, but in mine, I put chocolate chips. That's the fun of it. You take a basic something and corn, take corn. Okay, you have corn. You have an ear of corn. You take the corn off the ear of corn. Okay, well, I like avocado. I like red peppers. I like this. I like that. As long as it's all, healthy stuff, organic and healthy, and cold pressed olive oil. And some people go like, but you didn't put vinegar. Well, I don't use vinegar. If you're going to do that, do raw apple cider vinegar or lemon. You know what I mean? And but people are always sending me, well, you didn't put this in there. Why not? I'm like, well, because that was in the last recipe and this was a different recipe, but you can do whatever you want. That's what's so much fun about doing this.
Are there any misconceptions about raw food diet that you'd like to clarify?
Well, right there, it's not a diet. It's a way of life. If you think of it as a diet, then you go like, I'm going to stay on it for this amount of time. And then,
Yeah.
and then I get people say, I fell off. What does that mean? How do you fall off? You didn't eat raw yesterday, you eat raw today. Like there's no falling off. Stop making yourself feel guilty. You didn't eat raw yesterday, you eat raw today. Big deal. But it's not a matter of what you do, it's a matter of what you do all the time. If people are eating and drinking alcohol, eating cooked food and drinking alcohol and smoking, they're going to be the result of what that is, that they do that all the time. People who eat more healthy and try to stick more raw in there, they're going to be that result. They're going to be the accumulation of whatever they do to their bodies. So I tell people, I was like, listen, there's no such thing as falling off. Either you ate raw, or you didn't eat raw. If you didn't eat raw yesterday, you eat raw today. You just go right back on. The other thing is that people think you have to eat raw all the time. Heck no. Before you got here, I had gluten-free pizza.
Oh, that sounds yummy.
It's my favorite. My sister sent it. There's a special place I go to for it. So I get it like every now and then. But I don't deprive myself. I think of raw food as a miraculous healing addition to whatever it is I do.
Wow. You hear that, everybody? It is healing. And
Healing.
it's putting out something. It really is a way of life and a way to feel better.
Well, you have to think of it this way. Aging is an inflammatory disease. If you look at that way, that aging is an inflammatory disease, and food is the best medicine that you could ever put into your body, why wouldn't you think that food could help anti-age you by helping to heal that disease? That's the way I look at it. I might be crazy, but it's worked for me.
Oh, it sure has. This sounds fantastic. Everything that you're putting out there. Can we rewind a little bit
Sure.
to the early days of modeling?
Oh, geez.
How did it all begin, Carol?
I was in Army ROTC, and I was hoping for an Army scholarship, and I was studying law at Hofstra, and I was waitressing. And my father was, a fire chief in the South Bronx, but he was going to have 4 kids pretty much all in college at the same time. And I thought I have to help my father pay for my education. And I was, I always have a plan B. And I thought, if I don't get this scholarship, I need to have saved some money to help my father with my education. So a guy came into where I was waitressing and said, oh, you should do this. And I'm like, no, not my thing. I had a guy take photographs of me when I would, my girlfriend's uncle. I never saw them. That felt so scuzzy to me. I was like, ooh, no. And he goes, no, you'll see them. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. He's like, just take this number. Bert Rockfield. I'll never forget him. And he gave me the number of somebody at Eileen Ford's to come and see. Didn't want to do it. Kept doing my waitressing because I was so happy I'd finally gotten a waitressing job, by the way, because I wasn't old enough to waitress, but I was old enough to go to college, right? So I went into the city because my boyfriend broke up with me. Seems to be the story of my life. My boyfriend breaks up with me and gotta make a change. I had to get off Long Island. I didn't want to be there when he came back from military school. So I left and went to the city and just thought, okay, I'll just do it as a summer job. Make enough money, help my father pay for my education. Because my first job, I got $200. I was like, wait. 200. I come, you shoot photos, and I get $200. Well, but you have to do your own makeup. I'll do my own makeup. Thank you, Kelly Emberg, who taught me how to do my makeup because I had no idea how to do makeup. And made $200. And I thought, I could groove on this. by the end of the summer, I'd had a cosmetics contract, and I was, really working a lot. And I had my first cover, which is actually on the wall behind me. It's the second one right there. It was Harper's Bazaar. And I thought, this could be fun. And I put my scholarship on waiver for a year. And then the next year I gave it to somebody who needed it. But,
Oh.
John Casablancas did come to me and say, listen, if you can't afford to buy the college by the time I'm through with you, I will pay for your education. Years later, he denied that, but he said it because I would never have given up my scholarship otherwise. Like, why would I have? But yeah, when I got the scholarship, I said to my parents, I just want to try this for a while. So that was how it happened.
Wow. So, what do you think sets apart the iconic supermodels of the past from those today?
Well, I don't really think that there's that many models anymore being formed. I think the last group was, Bella and Gigi, but they made it through television. They had, a famous mother who was on a television show. It's very rare that the girls today come from nowhere. They have to have 50,000 followers or more before the agency would. I always say I would probably never make it today. I I mean, I have not figured out the secret of Instagram and Twitter and stuff to get my numbers up. But meanwhile, I'll sell 4 million copies of the front page of Corriere della Sera in Italy when I, receive an award for, lifetime achievement. So it doesn't correlate to me. But I think that, it's more influencers today. Back in the day, we had to be 5'9" or more. We had to weigh, I weighed 115 pounds when I did my cover of Sports Illustrated. You had to have a certain look, and the agencies decided. When I walked in, they said yes, no, and you wait until I get rid of everybody else. Come on in, and then I went in, and they went, we want you. And your career and your life was in the hands of somebody else. If they liked you and they sent you out and people responded to you, great. If they didn't like you, you could sit forever before you ever would get a job. And it all depended on your agency and the agents. And nowadays it's more, everything's in your own hands. If you find something that people click into, the sky's the limit.
Wow.
Well, I was thinking, I just wonder what it was like on set back in the day. The cameras, the lights. There were no computers, right? It was
No.
all on print. It took a lot of time to develop the film.
Well, it wasn't even just that. For me on the set, it was, sometimes they would do 4 or 5 rolls of 36. The first time I ever did digital for photos, the guy took like 5 shots. He goes, okay. I was like, wait, what do you mean, okay? He's like, we got it. And I'm like looking around at the computer to see like, what the heck's he looking at that he thinks he's got it in 5 shots? I didn't even get going yet.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time I did digital for film. It was so freeing because in movies you would do a scene and they'd say, okay, let's do it again from the top. Oh, wait, we had a hair in the gate. Redo it. Oh, sorry, we ran out of, we were using film ends. We ran out of film. Oh, wait. We didn't like that light. It was a little, you're a little too dark. Hold on. You didn't, the first time I did it in digital, I did it. And I said to the guy, I said, I think I could get there. He goes, just go for it. I'm like, what do you mean just go for it? Like, we didn't reset anything. He just says, just go for it. I could cut anything. You can go forever. What do you mean I can go forever? Like, what about the film ending? It was like, holy mackerel, freedom. I could cry. I could see that. It was so much fun. It was so freeing because it wasn't like I had to worry about how much film I was using. It was amazing. It was, it was, and the same thing on the set with modeling, because if you're doing 15 or 20 shots a day and you're doing 5 or 6 rolls of this, every shot, some could take an hour. There were some photographers I got one shot in 8 hours.
Oh my gosh, you needed a lot of patience.
Oh my God, you wanted to kill yourself.
Oh.
But yeah, it was amazingly different. But when it comes to, makeup with HD, high def, I never wear foundation anyway. I wear a little color. That's it. I got it on my cheeks, my lips, my eyes, and that's pretty much it. And even sometimes I forget to put it all the way on. I'm just not like a heavy duty makeup girl. I like when people look natural and healthy. And I mean, I guess that's because when in the 80s, we had blue eyeshadow and hair that was. I remember one time having to go home and wash my hair. They had used Dax in my hair, and it was like a heavy duty wax. And my hair was teased up like this. And the guy said to me, the hairdresser said to me, he said, make sure you use palm olive. I said, what do you mean? He goes, palm olive will break the Dax. So before you get in the shower, rub palm olive all in your hair. And I washed my hair that night with palm olive, and then had to sit and brush your hair from the bottom up like this to save your hair. So yeah, I mean, I don't think the girls today would stand for any of that. But as a model back then, I was at the whim of whoever was putting whatever on me.
Was there a role or a modeling gig that you missed out on that you wish that you could have been a part of?
No, not really. I mean, I've done 65 films, so I've done pretty much every kind of role. And I'm working on Paper Empire right now with Denise Richards and Kelsey Grammer, Wesley Snipes, Cuba Gooding. I mean, it's a huge cast. I've been very blessed, which is why when God brought me this information that saved my life, I said I need to pay it forward. And I took the time pretty much off from my career, only because he forced me to. But you're in the hands of God, really, always. So the next thing I know is I'm writing books and taking time off and doing the show on Fox, which who would have expected, and that Fox would do a health show, because I'm not particularly political, but Fox did a health show. It was pretty cool. So, I've been very blessed in all of this, and I'd be a fool to complain.
Well, you're an amazing human being. Thank you so much. We appreciate you immensely.
Thank you
Well,
so
listen, I
much.
appreciate you sending Serena all the way down here. I felt so bad. I was like, I know I'm not technical, but that was like, that was a little crazy.
Well, when I said, hey, I can bring my computer down, and Carol said yes, and I said, I'm on my way. And here we are in a 1 hour time frame. So my pleasure. Thank you for
Thank you.
opening up your house and opening up this world of health and also your life. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. Thanks, Colby. Enjoy Florida.